Hey, welcome back to Wave Your Fat Goodbye. Go grab some dumbbells. You're going to need them today because we are going to use resistance training today.
And today is Thursday show, so every Thursday you're going to exercise your back and chest.
Yeah, it's back and chest show with resistance training. It could be an exercise band, it could be dumbbells, whatever you have for resistance training. If you're a beginner, you may not use any weights, just get your range of motion down. But we're going to start, you want to clear out some room in your living room because we are going to lay down for these first few rounds. We're actually going to start with a bench press. So go ahead, have a seat. Grab your dumbbells or your exercise band, whatever you have for your resistance, grab that. We're going to lay back and do bench presses. Lori's going to demonstrate week 1. I'll do week 3, which is 10 on, 10 off. So yeah, you just press up to the sky. Most people understand a bench press, but you press up to the sky and come down nice, slow, and controlled. If you do have a weight bench, we encourage you to use that because then you get more range of motion. You see, of course, we're limited by the floor, so we can only go down so far till your elbows touch. But if you have a weight bench, you can increase your range of motion.
By letting your elbows drop further, correct?
Exactly. So I get to start in just a few seconds. So hopefully, since it's Thursday and you understand the clocks now, you're able to watch the clocks and figure out what round you're on, when you're off.
And you might notice that we have our knees bent. Well, we do that so that we can keep our back nice and flat.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than extending your legs. Because actually, this will curve the small of your back just a little bit, which keeps your spine in a better position to do this exercise. Already halfway through. And I encourage you to grab a couple different dumbbells. Get some different weight dumbbells, because for this round you might use a heavier one and then put that down, grab a lighter one later in the show.
So you're still working on every 10 seconds on, 10 seconds rest. And I'm doing every 15 seconds on, 15 seconds rest.
Yeah, I'm trying to, but it's kind of hard when you lay back. You can't see the clock.
Yeah, I know.
To lean up to see the clock. You know what? Don't get overly concerned with the clocks. Just do what you can. If you want to do the full 2 minutes every time, go ahead.
Yeah, you could. That's the whole key anyway.
Just move. That's our theme to all of our programs. Just move. Time has expired. I really appreciate her voice on some of the rounds.
I do too. Well, a key to victory is staying on track by understanding how much seed you're putting into your field. Since you are now the farmer of your own body, you don't want to overplant your field, so you need to count your calories.
Yeah, counting your seed or calories is paramount to taking charge and remaining in control of your health. This is what will help you to change and adopt a healthy lifestyle for the remainder of your life, and it'll prevent the yo-yo effect from diets. So calorie counting, that's the theme for today's entire show, is calorie counting. A lot of people get overwhelmed and think, oh, I can't count calories, that's too many. You know, if I'm serving 5 things that meal. Don't get overwhelmed. We're going to show you some really neat tips today to make it easy. All right, this second round, you're going to stay seated or lay back again, so that's why we stayed seated. This is an alternating bench press, okay? So similar to what we just did, but you're going to alternate arms one at a time. Okay, so let's lay back. So instead of bringing both arms up at one time, you're going to alternate one at a time. Almost like you're punching the sky, one arm at a time. So alternating bench press. And it's just chest and back today. So all the exercises we do today are going to work the chest and your back. Of course, that includes, when you work the chest and back, it includes your shoulders and your arms. That's why we spaced this show a few days out from Monday's program.
So we're working out every body part, and that's the one thing that's so important as you continue to progress in your age. All of these exercises are so important because they will help keep you strong, and that's the key, is to keep your strength up as you get older and to eat healthy, be healthy.
All right, absolutely.
It's for strengthening.
Yeah, and calorie counting. Stay tuned because we've got some great little tips on that. It really is simple.
We actually do have some really neat news in that part.
How you holding up?
Great. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's nice taking the 10 or 15 second break and not working the full 2 minutes.
Not what we're used to, but It works.
Well, we're just getting warmed up for Saturday's show, where
Yeah.
everyone does the full 2 minutes. You don't have a choice on Saturdays.
Well, if you do Christian fitness with us on a regular basis, you're already used to doing 2 minutes.
Right. And this is one that you could do. You can do this on your couch. You can do this, just laying down, wherever you want. This is some really simple exercises for you today.
Yeah, you could do this on your bed. I don't recommend it, but
Hey, if it gets you to move, go ahead and perform wherever you want to, out on your back porch, on an Adirondack, whatever it takes.
All right, Lori, why don't you share today's scripture with us?
well, it's Proverbs 4:7. The beginning of wisdom is acquire wisdom, and with all your acquiring, get understanding. And James 1:5 is, but if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously without reproach, and it will be given to him. So the important thing is ask for wisdom, get understanding, and understand God gives it to us generously. So he's telling us we can ask for wisdom and knowledge, and he will give it to us generously. That is awesome.
Yeah, I love that scripture. So, a lot of people, they say, oh, well, my need right now isn't important enough to go to God. It's not as important as somebody else's need. That's not what the scripture says. Scripture says ask for wisdom and he'll give it to you generously. So don't hold back, ask him. All right, round number 3, we're going to do an incline bench. So we've got a couple variations on this. If you've got light weights like I do today, you can just lean back at about 45 degrees, which is going to work your core, and then you're just going to do an incline bench and press up. So I'll start my 10 seconds now. Lori's going to show you a variation. If you have a little bit heavier weight, or you don't want to hold and work your core, if you just want to work back and chest and back, you lay back, you press up, and then you do a little sit-up. Okay, so press and then come up. So you see Lori's pressing to the sky, and then you do a little crunch.
So much for the 15 seconds. We're so busy showing the exercises, I forgot.
That's what I said, don't get too caught up on the clocks.
Yeah.
Clocks aren't the main thing. The main thing is just move. Actually, I'm going to do the lean back 45. Now this is a great one. We talked about your couch or your bed or whatever earlier. This is one you want to be at about a 45-degree angle. So you could do this one on your couch and just lean back against some pillows. So sit in your couch, lean back against the pillow, and do this incline bench.
And this is great for the arm strength, but not just that. The exercise I'm doing really will help your core.
Yeah, she's doing that extra little crunch. Of course, this one, you're flexed the whole time trying to hold yourself up. But Lori's doing that little crunch, which is great. Great for the abdomen. Actually, I'm going to do a couple of those, I think. I'm going to join you down for this 10 seconds. Yeah, so you press up, and then raise up. Nothing wrong with getting a little core workout, a little stomach workout while we're doing chest and back.
No, because your core is so important.
Incline bench. Yeah, if you actually have a bench that you can do these in your garage, or, exercise room or anything, really encourage that.
Don't get discouraged and think that calorie counting is too much work, because it's actually very simple. How many items do you normally purchase each week at the grocery store? 40, maybe 100?
Pick 2 items to study each week, and in 1 year, you would have your 100 different food items that you're familiar with. It only takes about 5 minutes to research the calorie count on one item, and that's an incredible investment of time that will pay off for the rest of your life. And one thing Lori likes to do is, instead of maybe just picking 2 items that week, you could pick an entire meal. Because most people eat the same 10 to 14 meals anyway, so pick 1 meal each week and study the calorie count on every item that you have for that meal. It's actually pretty simple, and we're gonna study rolls in a few rounds, so stay tuned. We've got some really interesting information on rolls and calorie counting. Round number 4, we're gonna do flies. A couple variations on this as well. You could do an incline bench like I did last time, where you just lean back on your own, or you can go all the way to the ground. So either way, this way you have a little more range of motion, because I can bring my elbows down further, but on a fly, you just keep your arm at a 90-degree angle, and you just open up,
almost like we think of fly, you think of a bird's wing bent. So you see Lori's going to do it from the ground. Now again, she's limited on her range of motion because of the floor, but still think about your chest. We want you to think about the muscle group that you're working today. Think about your back and your chest as you're doing the exercise. So when I open this up, I'm going to think about my chest. I'm going to think about my chest to close my arms. So isolate and think about the muscle that you're working.
Well, you can do another variation too. You can just slightly lay down and come all the way back. A lot harder, but it works.
Yeah, it's almost what you did earlier where you did that little
Right.
crunch, where you did the incline bench where you would press and then come up a little bit.
Right. The key is we're just moving.
That's it.
So find where you're comfortable and then start this. And then every week progress. Do one more each week.
Yeah, we encourage you to chart your progress. Keep a little sheet of paper down next to you, and then every time you do a certain number, you jot it down for that week, and then the next week you want to add 1 or 2 to it.
And you can really feel this.
2 minutes is a long time to exercise. Even if you are taking your 10 or your 15-second breaks, it's a long time to exercise. Really working the core too, doing this lean back.
Well, I know this is really hard in this position, but I really like this.
It's good for you.
5,
I'm gonna lean back,
four,
go lay back on this one.
3, 2, 1. Time has expired.
Calorie counting. Let's take some simple items. Rolls. Research a few different brand names and types and you'll gain an enormous amount of knowledge about that one food. There can be a vast difference in calories depending on which type you purchase. So research several of them and learn which one would be best for you.
Yeah, we did our research, and one whole wheat potato roll is 60 calories per roll. One whole wheat Kaiser roll made by a well-known manufacturer, which we won't divulge today, is 200 calories per roll. So in just that one item, there can be more than 3 times as many calories. So imagine if you made the wrong decision for each item in your meal. So we just covered rolls. You're looking at 60 calories versus 200 calories. That's just one small item of your overall meal. So if you make that wrong choice in every item, you could go from an 800 calorie meal to a 2,000 calorie meal just like that. So count your calories. Round number 5, we're gonna go ahead and stand up, and we're gonna do what's called a bent over row. So you just wanna bend down with your dumbbells on the ground and bring them up to your chest as if you're rowing. So you're in a rowboat, but instead of bending over in a rowboat, you're gonna be standing up in your rowboat. Okay, so Lori's starting even before her 15 seconds.
There's that 2 minute
Pay no
thing.
attention to the clock. We don't care, we just wanna exercise. We just wanna take care of this temple of the Holy Spirit. And we encourage you on this, keep your back nice and straight. So keep your back straight, you're gonna bend your knees just a little bit, but keep your back nice and straight.
You know, it's interesting. I had my knees locked in place and I noticed all of a sudden it didn't feel right, didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So when you use the right form, you should feel comfortable.
Yeah, bend your knees just a little bit, and then you can keep your back straight. You actually want to try to arch your back just a little bit. Right at the small of your back, you can create a little bit of an arch. Oh, we always like to think of, they call it a bent over row because it is a rowing motion. But Lori and I like to think up other ideas, and as we were practicing this show, we thought of, what it reminded me of are those old railroad cars.
Oh, yeah.
Where the guy would stand on each side, they had the bar in between them, and that's how they would travel down the railroad, was to pump that bar in between the two of them. So I like to think of that motion.
That was a key, too. They really had to pump that bar. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have to work out.
Yeah.
Their everyday activities were a workout.
That is so true. And that's what, we can do a lot of everyday activities like sweeping. Oh my gosh, take a broom, go sweep outside for a half hour. That's exercise.
Yeah, gardening. A lot of everyday activities are great exercise. All right, last 10 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time has expired.
Calorie counting is so important. Here's why. Now you can create a calorie deficit. In order to lose weight, you need to burn more calories than you take in. If you eat 2,000 calories each day, then to lose weight, you need to burn more than 2,000 calories. That seems pretty basic, right?
No, it really is that simple. The great news is that a 160-pound person will burn about 550 calories while sleeping for 8 hours and 1,382 calories by just sitting still for 16 more hours. So by doing absolutely nothing for 24 hours, a 160-pound person will burn around 1,932 calories. So that's why it's so important to calorie count. If you only consume 2,000 calories and you know at 160 pounds you're going to burn 1,932 calories, by doing absolutely nothing, you're at around 70 calories short, but we'll get into more of that in the next round. Round 6 is going to be a lawnmower pull. So what we like to do is put your left leg forward, put your hand on your knee, and you're just going to pull your dumbbell up to the shoulder as high as you can. Almost like you're trying to start a lawnmower. And then you're going to alternate. So what I'm going to do at my 10-second round, after my 10 seconds is over, I'll switch and do the other arm. If you're doing the full 2 minutes, you could go 30 seconds and then switch. You go 40 seconds and switch, whatever you want to do to switch.
I'm sorry, I kept jumping in when you were talking.
That's fine.
I had totally the wrong knee doing the wrong thing. Like I said, if it doesn't feel right, then that means you're doing it wrong.
And we talked about motions earlier. We talked about the railroad cars. We had another one that we came up for this one that we liked. And Lori likes to think of it as sawing a log. So if you would put your foot on the end of a log and you had a nice long saw blade, you want to saw the end off of that log.
Yeah, I don't know too many women that would be, you know, starting a lawnmower, or maybe.
Well, the reason I like the sawing motion better than a lawnmower, when you pull a lawnmower, you want to pull it really hard. You know, you really jerk it, which we don't want to do that today. We want a nice, slow, fluid motion. So I like to think of the sawing motion, a little bit better motion than the lawnmower pull. Of course, speaking of lawnmowers, what kind of lawnmower did you use at your grandparents' house? You didn't even have to pull start it, right?
No, it was one of those little round rotary with all the blades. That thing was awesome. I love that thing.
That was a true push mower, right? No power.
Yeah, no power. And I
blades.
understand they still make them. I'd love to find one sometime. That would be so awesome. It'd be fun.
That's a great workout. You've got to push that mower to get the blades to turn.
That's why I said everyday things that you do, like if you had a mower like that, or sweeping outside, or dusting really high items. You're exercising. Utilize that.
One time has expired.
All right, time has expired. All right, Lori, last time you told us to just ask the Lord for wisdom.
Yes, because Proverbs 4:7 says, in the beginning of wisdom is acquire wisdom, and with all you're acquiring, get understanding. James 1:5 says, but if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it will be given to him. So God is saying, ask him. He'll give you wisdom. He'll give you knowledge and understanding, but not just that he'll give it to you, he gives it to you generously. I mean, oh my goodness, ask. He'll give it to you generously. That's just, wow. Thank you, Lord.
And what did Solomon ask for?
Wisdom.
Solomon, right? Wealthy, had everything.
Yeah.
And what did he ask for?
Asked wisdom to how to minister to his people.
All right, round number 7, you can go ahead and put your dumbbells down, and we're going to get back down on the ground again. We're going to do what's called a staggered push-up. Lori's going to do a beginner version where she's just going to lay flat on her stomach and just push up. And we call it staggered. You want one hand close to being right under your face or your chin, and the other hand way out here. Okay, so Lori's going to do a beginner where you just push up like this, and you can switch hands each time. You can switch hands at 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whenever you're doing your rounds, whatever you're comfortable with. Intermediates, you can do it from your knees. So I'm going to just forget about my clock for the demonstration.
Okay.
For intermediates, you could go from your knees.
And this really does, I mean, it doesn't seem like we're doing anything, but we're really doing something.
Now for advanced, we're going to go up on our toes, which I will go back to my clock for this. I don't want to do it the whole last minute and a half. And for each 10 seconds, I'm going to use one hand. Okay, so I'm going to use my left hand for this 10 seconds, and then on my next 10 seconds, I'll switch to my left. So up on your toes is a regular push-up, but you keep one hand right under your chin, and the other hand out to the side.
How you doing? I'm good, and with the modified version that I'm doing, actually you are getting upper arm strength, you're working out your shoulders, but you're also stretching out your back, which really feels good.
Yeah, that's the great thing about that motion. Is flexibility is so important. And we've got our stretching show that we recommend you do on Tuesdays and Fridays. We actually recommend that you do it any day. You can do it
Yeah.
before every workout, after every workout.
I feel like I'm cheating just sitting here doing nothing.
That's all right. You can do the full 2 minutes if you want. It's a little late now, but now you get to go for the last 15.
Yeah.
I'll join you for the last 10. How's that? Give you some company.
Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time has expired.
Let's review our calorie deficit. We said that a 160-pound person that consumed 2,000 calories needed only to burn 68 calories to be calorie neutral. So if they go for a brisk 30-minute walk, they could burn 172 calories. So they just created a 104 calorie deficit.
1 pound of body weight equals about 3,500 calories. So if our 160-pound person was able to stay consistent with their 104 calorie deficit each day, then they would lose 1 pound every 34 days. That's about 12 pounds this year. So just by walking for 30 minutes every day and watching their calorie count, they can create a calorie deficit. Of course, depending on your weight, your calorie count will be different. So the more you weigh, the higher your calorie count. The less you weigh, the less your calorie count. So a pretty simple chart to figure out. Round number 8, we're going to do tricep push-ups. So go ahead and have a seat. We have a couple variations for you on this one. Lori is going to do a beginner where she just keeps her hands right next to her waist, right next to her hips, and just tries to lift her back pocket off the ground. That's the beginner version. Intermediates, I like to bring the hands back a little bit further and maybe raise your back pocket just a few inches off the ground, and then you'll press from there. Advanced, we like to move our hands back further and elevate your back pocket more. So now you have more of a range of motion. Now you can go down further.
I'm not even trying that. That's not true.
Well, the reason we show you these variations is this one, you can see how much it impinges the shoulder. I mean, you see the pressure on my shoulder from having my hands back so far. So if you have shoulder problems or you're a little bit older, you may want to put your hands closer to your hips like Lori's doing.
And don't feel like you're not doing anything, because you really are. I mean, just the weight that you're using to press up on your shoulders, because it's like you're trying to lift your whole body, you're still working out.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier because you're pressing straight down. So the pressure is straight down from the shoulder, so it's a lot easier for you to do this motion rather than have it way back here.
But easier on the shoulder joint, that's what you
Right,
mean.
exactly. And this is a good one you can do on your couch, on the edge of your couch. You can do this on the arm of your sofa. You can do it on the edge of a chair. So a lot of variations for this one.
Oh yeah, we did this on the couch show.
Yep, absolutely. And then you get a lot of range of motion because you're elevated more. So we encourage you, wherever you are, however you can adapt these exercises to make them work better for you, go ahead. Okay, I'm getting ready for my last 10 seconds. How you holding up?
Good. Honestly, I like this one better.
Really? Put your hands back just a little bit?
5,
Yeah.
4,
That's what we say, just move.
2, 1. Time has expired.
We have some great news. Muscle weighs more than fat, and it also burns more calories than fat. So stay consistent with this resistance exercise training because it will add muscle. But don't get too hung up on the scale. How your clothes fit and how you feel is more important.
Yeah, adding or maintaining your muscle will also help you with everyday activities and your hobby. Remember that starting at around age 40, your metabolism slows down and you lose about 10% of your muscle mass each year. So resistance training is extremely important, especially as we age. So once you reach the age 40, every 10 years after that, you lose about 10% of your muscle mass. So it's so important to continue to resistance train and do some of the variations like Lori did where she stretched her back out a little on that staggered push-up. So work your flexibility and do resistance training. Last round. I think Lori's going to get up for this round. I'm going to stay seated, but this is our speed round. So this is where you combine 3 or 4 exercises. I'm going to combine the bench press, then I'm going to do a staggered press, then I'm going to do a fly. So I'm going to combine those three. Lori's going to combine, what are you going to do, the bent over row?
I'm going to do the bent over row, and then I'm going to do the wood sawing. I don't like to call it the lawnmower pull.
So yeah, do as many as you can. If you want to do all 8 exercises that we did, go ahead. But you just want to do a flurry of exercises. So I could do the incline bench, I could do an incline fly. Just as many exercises as you can, combine them.
I almost changed my mind.
You want to get down, we'll switch?
I almost did. I thought, well, you said it, so I'll do it.
But we want to remind you again to think about the muscle group that you're working. So as Lori's doing those, you want to think about, let's say, a tennis ball in between your shoulder blades.
Right.
So think about having a tennis ball between your shoulder blades, and you want to compress that tennis ball as you're doing that upright row or doing the saw. Compress that tennis ball between your shoulder blades.
And remember, if it's not comfortable, check your form. That means something probably is not lined up correctly.
Yeah, none of these exercises we're doing today, other than the tricep push-ups if your arm's too far back, but the rest of them should be pretty comfortable for your body. Now that's not to say that your muscles...
So we say.
Yeah, well, I was going to say your muscles might not agree with us, or your core. If you're doing some of those lean backs, your core might not agree, but that's a difference. There's a difference between pain and then just a burn from your muscles.
Right. You warmed up now?
I'm definitely warmed up.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time has expired.
So today we talked about wisdom and the Lord giving us wisdom. So Proverbs 4:7 says, in the beginning of wisdom is acquire wisdom, and with all your acquiring get understanding. James 1:5 says, but any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it will be given to him. So God gives us wisdom generously. You make Jesus your Lord of Lords, he's going to give you wisdom generously. He'll never withhold any good thing.
Just ask. Whatever you need, just ask and he'll give it generously. We thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you again tomorrow for stretching, and then join us Saturday for your cardio show. You're really going to enjoy that. We always close with 3 John 1:2. Beloved, I pray that in all respects you may prosper and be in good health, just as your soul prospers.